Lifestyle Solutions Google Hangout on Wednesday nights. We get together here as a tribe and share our solutions to freedom lifestyles. I'm just wearing these glasses because these were some glasses I picked up.
I gotta say, Moody, those are some pretty pimp glasses. I love them.
So these are for Rhonda, so but I'm gonna take them off now because they kind of hurt my eyes. No, but I do want to welcome those that are watching with us tonight. We created this hangout with our tribe members that we got together in Miami and learned quite a bit. And I just want to remind those that are watching to get your event tickets for the New Orleans event, which is in May. And I think we have a house down there that we're all going to be hanging out at. I think there's a few spots still open. So if you're all in or you get all in and get together with the person that invited you to the hangout tonight, or if you're watching the replay, get together with them and find out how you can get your event tickets to New Orleans. So with that being said, tonight I want to introduce two people that really mean a lot to me because they were the first people that I met in the All-In House in Miami, and they were also kind enough to let me cruise around with them in their cool Camaro. I believe it was a Camaro.
Challenger.
Challenger, that's right. Even better. That was an awesome car, but
there was so much traffic, it would have probably been quicker to just walk everywhere.
Yeah, that's true, but we were pimping.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was awesome. The Miami event was particularly great for me because it was my very first one, and I had a lot of breakthroughs because for me, I personally am an introvert. When I get around people that I don't know, I tend to zip it up and stay up here. And so Miami was cool because as I had known these people on Facebook and through other webinars and hangouts and stuff, you know, I'm a people person where when I do talk to people, I like doing, you know, person-to-person live interaction. So Miami was huge for me because I got to hang out with 20-plus people in our tribe and really surround myself with the people with the same visions. We all have different reasons behind our vision, but the same vision of freedom, and that's why we created this Google Hangout for Freedom Lifestyle Solutions. What we do a lot is share some of the techniques that we are using, and that's why we share this with the All-In group and with people that are kind of new to it, to realize that we are real people, normal, you know, creating online businesses for the reason of having a freedom lifestyle. So tonight, let me introduce, first there's Tiffany, my Type 1 Jedi.
Right on. Thanks, Steven. Yeah, it was awesome to have met you too, and I couldn't believe the change from the start of the weekend to the end, and it's just been so amazing watching you sort of grow in your journey as well. And hi to Kim, who just jumped on. I see her hair blowing in the fan because it's hot where she is, so we won't hold a grudge. And yeah, like it was so great to get to know you and just all the different types in the house. And you know, we learn about you, but we also learn how to work with people like you too. So you never know when we're going to come across people that have the same learning style or the same personality that you might have, even though we're all unique. And sort of getting to know you that way and learning from you allows us to learn how to work with other people, and you know, it brings success in our business as well. And I can't be thankful enough for getting to meet you. And I just remember that call. We got to host the Empower Hour call, and you rocked it. We were all like, holy crap, who's this guy now? Like, it was super sweet to remember. So yeah, thanks for being the MC tonight. I think that's another great step for you coming out, and I love just hearing you talk and the wise words that come from it. And I'm excited to hear what Bernie has to share. I know it's been a goal of his to be able to share his knowledge with people, and he wants to teach people things, and sometimes he's can be quieter too, but he has so much knowledge within him. So I'm excited to hear him share everything with us tonight. So I won't take up too much more time. Thanks everyone who's watching, and yeah, sit back and enjoy.
Awesome, thanks, Tiffany. And next, I want to bring out Kimberly Vento, who is in Thailand. How are you doing, Kim?
Hey everyone, Scott's here too. Sorry that we jumped on late. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, which is kind of funny since we run an internet marketing business.
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Scott.
Hey there.
I don't know if you can you see us?
Fat head in this.
Can you see and hear us, you guys?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, good. Well, yeah, thanks everybody so much for being on this Hangout tonight. I really look forward to our Hangouts twice a week. We are here in Thailand, and we still feel so connected with the group, through our video, through our Facebook group. It's such a great way to interact and connect with everybody so that you do feel like you're a part of a tribe no matter where you are out in the world. So I just love being on here, love learning from you guys. I'm really looking forward to what Bernie has to say tonight about outsourcing. So thank you again, Bernie, for training, and Stephen, thank you so much for being the MC tonight.
Thanks, Kim. And next, I want to introduce Bernie. Bernie did a lot for me in Miami because just when you first meet someone, they talk about first impressions and stuff. And Bernie just reminded me of really my best friend growing up when I was a child. And just kind of a connection that I don't think he even knew that we made in that sort of sense. But every day was awesome to just hang out with him and Tiff, and they're very interested in dogs, the traveling dogs, and that really struck a chord with me because I love animals. I have a Great Pyrenees, and so we had that connection, and so I am really excited to learn what Bernie is going to teach tonight on outsourcing. So with no further ado, the floor is yours, Bernie.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Moody. You guys can hear me all right?
Yep, sure can.
Perfect. The thumbs up. Kimberly, last week, or that was Sunday, I think, you rocked it. That was awesome with teaching the Facebook tab stuff. It was actually something that I started to attempt to learn, and I just got sidetracked and kept trying to come back, and then you were just like, no, it's this easy. And so thanks a lot for that. And for those of you that don't know me that are watching, my name is Bernie, and I read the 4-Hour Workweek, and I'll warn you, it's an awesome book, but it will change your life. It will mess you up, so to speak. It'll change everything. So I've seen it. People have talked about it. I've seen the book cover everywhere, and I finally, Tiffany was actually the one that was like, here, you need to read this. And I started reading it. I'm not a reader. And I started reading it. I couldn't put it down. And I finished it, and all these ideas go through your head, and you're like, whoa, is this actually possible? And do people actually do this? And I forgot about it. And I didn't think about it, didn't do anything, and just kind of went back to my regular 7:30 to 5 office job and just kind of doing the same thing over and over. And it was a few years later I picked up the same book, and I'm like, there's something here, and I started reading it again, and that just kind of changed my whole thing, my whole life, of my perspective on things, and I actually took action with it, which is obviously one of the biggest things in life. You can read something, you can say that's awesome, I want to do that, but if you don't do anything, then it's going in one ear and out the other. So take action on the little things that you learn. So what I'm going to talk about tonight, and you guys can just I see there's There's a chat thing somewhere I have to open up. Cool. All right, so I have a little presentation thing. I'm going to talk about outsourcing. Outsourcing. If you have the 4-Hour Workweek book, I recommend taking it and opening it to chapter 7 and reading that chapter. It's just full of some really good insight on the world of outsourcing and what you can actually do with it. And I'm just going to touch a little bit on what I've been doing, because I've kind of played around with outsourcing. And then I'll warn you again, outsourcing can be dangerous too, because it gets addictive. You start outsourcing some stuff and you're like, whoa, that was great. Well, what about this? What about this? And you can get carried away sometimes. But I am going to share my screen and just go into a short PowerPoint presentation that I have. And so, Moody, if you could unmute yourself and just tell me if we're good to go on the screen, because I can only see my PowerPoint.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, perfect. So, outsourcing your life. You no longer have an excuse. So, you've got all of those things in your head right now where those things you need to do. So, you've written lists, because we've all written lists of things that we need to do the next day, and we do good to a point. We stroke some things off, and there's always those little things on there that stay on there for days, weeks, months, years, whatever. But now you no longer have an excuse. There is somebody that can do this for you. So outsourcing to subcontract work to another company or person. So when people talk about outsourcing, they think overseas or other countries, but outsourcing can also be your next door neighbor. It can be it can be anything. When I forget who I was listening to, it was an audio, and they were talking about outsourcing and things that you don't want to do, and things that just take up a lot of time in your head and thought. And we bought this house, Tiff and I, and there's this old dishwasher, and we hardly ever use it, and we just kind of do the dishes. The dishes pile up, and then finally one of us is like, okay, we need to do these, and we do them, and we've got this dishwasher. But so after listening to this audio, I looked at my dishwasher, and I'm like, I need to outsource washing the dishes, and I'm going to put you to work. And since then, we've started outsourcing our dishes to our dishwasher. So outsourcing isn't just sending stuff overseas to different countries to wherever. It can be anything. Who should outsource? So business owners, internet marketers, teachers, lawyers, really anybody can outsource. Take a landscaping company, for example. I worked for one, and we did a lot of interlock. And then he would do driveways too, but he would outsource the driveway. He would get people to come in and pour the cement, because he didn't want, there's kind of risk in that, and if you mess it up, then the cost is on you. So he didn't want that stress, so he just got somebody else to do it. He had to pay a bit more money, but it's just getting rid of some of that stress. What can you outsource? Again, this is endless. Web development, SEO, Word, keyword research, blog content. You can actually get people. What's that? Oh, okay. Is just my first slide showing, guys?
Yeah. Sorry, I was about to tell you that. I was like,
let me see. What doesn't?
There goes the second one.
Is it?
It says to contract out to submit contract work.
Okay. Is it full screen?
No.
Okay. What about now?
No.
Not yet.
Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter.
Might just have to click on each one.
Yeah. So I'm just going to continue going through this.
Whoa, sending flowers to your wife. Let's touch on that.
Yes, so you can see this screen now. What can you outsource? So blogging, you can get people to write blogs for you. You can get people to do, some people get people to do financing and accounting, sending emails, grocery shopping. There are places that you can shop online and get stuff delivered to your house. Sending flowers to your wife, yes. Updating databases, almost anything. Anything that you don't need to physically be there, which is very, it's almost endless what you can outsource. So I went to the next slide. When should I get a VA? I don't know if you can see that.
Not yet.
I'll go back out of it.
There you go.
Okay. So a VA is a virtual assistant. Getting a virtual assistant requires, it's a mindset change. And this was, I started getting some VAs and outsourcing a few things, which I'll talk about in a bit. But you're now responsible for giving tasks. So I used to own a doggy daycare and had people working for me, so I was a bit used to telling people what to do and kind of the whole boss thing. But if you're not used to that, you are now a boss, and you have people that you need to tell them what to do. You need to tell them exactly how to do it, and sometimes you have to be that person to be like, no, that's completely wrong, and start over. You must be able to give clear instruction, and you can save a lot of money, but also waste a lot, because if somebody does the project wrong, and maybe it's time sensitive, then you might end up having to do it yourself and rushing and kind of redoing everything that they did. And next slide. Benefits of outsourcing. Spend time on more important tasks. So you can kind of give the stuff away that you don't really want to do, and think that somebody might be even better at it. And what I loved about the outsourcing was, at night I could give a job to somebody, and in the morning it would be done. So that whole people working while you sleep, it was great. So you could have maybe some research or something ready for you in your inbox when you wake up, and you can just kind of dive right into it and kind of keep your day going. It's also a good motivator. So my one virtual assistant, she'll be constantly be like, good morning, sir, how's it going? When are you going to give me that project you told me about? And I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, I gotta get going, and just kind of kept me on track, which was good. And you can find someone more qualified to do your work. So, and it was Dave Sharp that is constantly saying, don't get somebody else to do work that you've never done. Which is true to an extent, but you don't have to be professional at it. Now, if you're blogging, if you're doing stuff like that, then yes, that's true. You should be doing everything yourself, so that you know the steps that need to be taken, so that you can instruct them on what to do and help them if they have any questions. Now, if it's things like graphic design, web development, you don't necessarily need to know how to create something in maybe Illustrator or Photoshop. That's their job. But you do need to know what you want and kind of give them guidance to accomplish what you want. And the downside of outsourcing, it takes time to find the perfect virtual assistant. At the beginning, VAs, they need babysitting. And so Tiff and I do a lot of dog stuff. And I just wanted to know some research about how different cultures view dogs, and just because I know that it's extremely different. So North America is like, you get a lot of the dog is another family member, and sometimes they sleep in the beds with them, and on the couch, and in purses, and in strollers and stuff like that. but other parts of the world that's ridiculous. And so I got somebody to, I said, I want you to take 5 different cultures and just research them, and so I let him go, and then he sent it to me, and he had grabbed 5 different breeds of dogs, and he researched the breed, and it wasn't at all what I wanted. So he had wasted some time, wasted some of my money, and we had to kind of start over. Now, if that was just kind of a trial project, it was just information for me. Now, if that was a kind of a time-sensitive project that I needed for something, then I would have been left scrambling to try to figure that out. So if you don't monitor the work, and the work's wrong, you make more work for yourself. And independent versus agency. I'm going to walk you through online just after this. There's a couple more slides on how to set something up and how to go about hiring somebody. So an independent virtual assistant is somebody that, just like somebody out of their house. They work for themselves. They've posted their profile online of what they can do, graphic design, web development, blah, 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 and then people can hire them. So it's just random people. And they tend to be easier to communicate with because you're dealing right with them, and I found there can be a bit easier to deal with. So agencies are companies. So there might be, agencies are anywhere from 3 people to who knows, 10, 20, 30 people. So when you're dealing with an agency, you're dealing with one person, and he'll delegate stuff. So what's good about this is there might be a couple of graphic designers, some web developers, some internet research people. The beauty of this is if one of the people are sick, then they can just assign the job to somebody else, and you can keep going. You don't miss any days or anything. Another downside is communication can be an issue, because you're talking to the supervisor or the manager, and then they have to pass that information on to somebody else. And I've found sometimes some of that communication can get lost. Again, agencies provide a variety of talents, like I talked about. So if you're dealing with graphic design and web development, sometimes those go hand in hand. So they can kind of work together in their office or agency to get things together. And tight security. So listening to the 4-Hour Work Week, Chapter 8, Tim Ferriss talks a lot about the agencies and how tight the security is in these, and how you can't cross projects with other people, and everything's documented, and like how they're printing things, and they've got swipe cards to get in and out of the building. And he said a lot of the stuff is safer there than it is probably on our computer at home. How to find a VA, I'm going to go through a few things. That slide will show up soon. Seems to work if I go in and out, or maybe it's just slow. But take your time finding a VA. Be specific. Interview them, which I'll talk about. Give a trial job. So just give them, say, do you know what? Do this for 2 to 4 hours and send it to me, and we'll see where you're at and if the job is right, so that you're not wasting like a whole week or 50 hours or whatever it is. And this is a big one, and Tim Ferriss talks about this too, and I avoided it to begin with just because I thought my emails were clear, and then now I have went back to this, and I state everything that I want them to do in the email, and then I say, can you email me back with what you're going to do before you start, just so that they can clarify that they understand what you want them to do. And the last slide here is firing a VA. And this was hard for me because I've had to fire a few just because, just different reasons. And you'll need to do this. And not every virtual assistant will have the needs that you want, and you get a lot of people applying for some of your jobs that don't have the skills that they say they do. So this is something that you're going to have to do if you get into outsourcing. So I'm going to take that off. Is my face back?
Yeah.
Perfect. So do you guys have any questions so far before I go into kind of setting up a profile and looking for a VA or an outsourcer?
I have a question, Bernie. And you might be covering this. Where do we post the jobs or the description that we're looking for the initial interview? Are you going to be covering that a little bit later?
Yes, I will go into Odesk and I'll show you how to set that up step by step. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again if there are no more questions. And desktop, start share. Can you see Odesk?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is odesk.com. This is what I use. So there's Elance or Freelance. They are now, they've joined. So just recently, one or the other bought the other one. And they are running separate sites, but they work together. And Odesk changed quite a bit since they did that. But it's still very easy to use and free to use. So even if you're not going to use it, I would suggest just setting up a profile and going in and just posting a job just to see what happens, because it's kind of fun doing it. So I'm just going to walk you through some things about it. So there's recruit, job postings. So here, this is just a job that I posted. But it was a private one because I knew the guy that was going to do it. I just had to post a job so that he could apply. So you can see there's one applicant, but normally there can be up to like 40, 50, who knows, depending how long you let it run. So if you go to post a job, and so up here you can choose a category. There are, can you guys see my screen? Did it changed?
Yeah, it changed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of small, but
Okay.
we can get the gist of it, I think.
Perfect. So post a job. I'm just going to select, say, design. And then to the side, there's like a subcategory, and I'm going to go to logo design. And sorry about my cough. I start coughing when I talk too much. And then you can give your job a title, blah, 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 whatever it is, logo design. And the good thing about this is you go to a field here and start typing something beside it. It will give you examples, and it'll tell you kind of what to do. So your title, and then a description. So this is where you want to give nothing too long, but just letting people know what you want, maybe the skills needed, and some of that. Actually, skills needed goes below that. So skills below, you can, if it's graphic design, you might want them to know Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever else. Then, how would you like to pay? So this is, you can either do a fixed price. So if you have a budget and for something, you can put a fixed price, and then, or you can do hourly. I usually go hourly. Some of this stuff changes when people actually apply. So they'll apply and tell you some things, and then you have to kind of interview them and see if they actually, sometimes right when you start giving them a job, then they'll say, hey, can we just talk about something first? Would you prefer to do this with a fixed rate? So my graphic designer, he did that. I had an hourly thing, and he said, you know what, this might benefit you just doing a fixed rate. for stuff, and that's what I did and it did work out better for me in the end. And then estimated duration, I usually go, it all depends if it's going to be an ongoing thing, or if it's just a one-time thing, then you can do less than a month, or you can do 1 to 3 months. I often do 1 to 3, just so that if I do want to continue with them, then it doesn't really matter what you put here. And then estimated workload, again here, there's as needed, less than 10 hours a week, part-time 10 to 30 hours, or full-time 30 plus. I always go 10 hours a week or less, just to start, because you don't want to tell someone I've got 30 hours a week for you and you don't know them, and then you start working with them and they're no good, and then you just kind of let them go. But then again, if you find someone you like, sometimes it's good to give them more work so that they don't go and start finding work from other people. So there's kind of a fine line there. And then desired experience level. There's entry level, intermediate, and expert. So this is kind of the dollar value. What are you willing to pay? Entry level is anywhere from before Elance, before Odesk bought Elance, you could have it as low as $1.50 per hour. Now I think it's $3 that they have it. But yeah, entry level is I think up to $10 an hour. Intermediate, I'm not sure what those all are, but I usually go entry level. And again, depending what you want. Obviously, if you have somebody that's $30 an hour, they're probably going to be more qualified. And I say probably because that's I've found some very qualified people for in the entry level, and that's all the people that I work with are in the entry level. And then marketplace visibility, just anyone can find the job. You can attach images if you have a logo that you want touching up, which I've done too. You give a logo and you say, you know what, I want this touched up professionally, and you can supply it there. But I usually give that once I've kind of hired them, and but that's an option. Then underneath, customize your application requirements. This is something you want to do. So freelancer type, this is where you have the independent and agency. So again, whatever you want. I like the agency. I've worked with both, and I'm actually still working with both. So it's really, you can go through the process of interviewing people, and but you can go no preference too. Minimum feedback score, I always go at least 3.5 or even 4, just because that's the feedback that after they do a job, then you say how good they did. So you can go 3.5 or 4. And then another thing is hours billed on Odesk. I go at least 100. So that means that they've done jobs on Odesk, they know how the system works, and they're probably, if they have a minimum feedback score of
Richard,
4.
Get the dog out of here.
Then
Sorry.
someone's got to train their dog. So at least 100 hours is what I do, just because people are that means that their feedback score is probably right, and they've got experience on there. Location, I just leave it whatever, but you can choose that again. And then here's another important one, is English level. And I always go for at least 4 out of 5. And again, this is self-assessed. So these people will go through, they just kind of say how good they are. So you'll find some people that don't have very good English, and then some that have really good, and they'll be in kind of the same bracket. So again, that's kind of that trial, and you find out quickly when they email you and things like that. Cover letter, if you want them to give you a cover letter, you can. I usually state up top in the describe the work, I ask them to send me some samples of their work if it's graphic design, or just say, can I see your portfolio? But I'll show you that in a bit. They usually have a portfolio in their profile. So then you just post the job, which I'm not going to do because I didn't fill stuff out. Your job will go live within minutes, maybe even seconds, and probably within half an hour you'll have people applying for your job. And they'll just send you stuff, and you go through them, and you basically there's a short list, so you can go through and see the ones that you like, and you go shortlist, and delete, because there's a lot of people that they've applied for it and they didn't even read what your requirements are. And you can sometimes you go through and you read their little blurb on themselves, and you know that it's really bad English, and you want someone to write a blog post. Well, you're not going to ask for them, so you just delete them and you kind of move on until you get it down to like maybe 5 people, and then you can kind of weed through, and that can be take a bit of time too, and you want to take your time doing that. So I'm going to go to so that's how you post a job. So that's one way of finding somebody. The second way, I like that way best, just because you get a whole bunch of people looking for you, and then you can kind of weed them out. The other way is is to find freelancers.
You want me talking about diapers?
And so,
Hey Robert, can you mute your mic out?
Yeah, how do I do that?
At the very top of your screen, you should a toolbar with a mute button, your camera.
there'll be a little microphone.
There you go. Thanks.
Perfect. So find freelancers. So I'm just going to write in graphic design. I'll just say stay on this, and I'll go search. So here, now it just brought up, there's 211,000 freelancers found. So you don't want to go through those, and so these are all profiles of people. So what I would do next is you go over to the side, and this is your feedback rating. So again, what we did in the post a job, but you just kind of go through here. So I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5, and then it will reload, and it will bring up. The question's taking a bit longer. And now we're down to 53,000 people. So, and then hourly rate, I'm going to slide this over, and I'm going to go to from 0 to 10. And then you want to, so now we're 26,000. You can go to open more options, and hours billed. So this is at 100 hours at least. I hit that. It's kind of annoying that it reloads every time, but we'll get through it. Last activity I don't worry about. That's when they worked last on Odesk. So I just keep that at any time. Location, I keep any location. And then English level, again, at least 4 out of 5. You can do 5 out of 5 too. I just do that. And that depends on what you're looking for too. If you're looking for sometimes the higher English level is they charge more, so it depends really what you're looking for. And then freelancer type, independent, and agency. Again, I just leave them both checked for that. And then down here you can get more specific. And if you need someone that has like Office skills or Windows XP or whatever, you can type stuff in here too. And the score is either the top 30%. So these are all tests that people do when they do their profile. So they're something with all these questions. I haven't seen them, so I don't know what it is. But they just have to answer them all, and then they're scored at the end, and that goes on their profile. And I just keep that at top 30%. So now we're at 8,624. So narrowing it down. Again, posting a job the other way is a lot better because you get you narrow it down a lot more, and people you can kind of go through them that way because you don't want to go through 8,000 people. But this is kind of funny because this Arjuna guy, I've used him, and he did some really good work, but I had to fire him because he just took too long. I wouldn't hear from him for like 3 days, and then he'd be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then so I had to. I like to give someone a job and then they're on it and kind of get back in a day. But so that's why I had to get rid of them. So this is actually, I don't think I fired him. I think I just still have him on my profile. So you can click on their name, and this will bring up their profile. I'll just go into his just so you can see. So it does say you hired him August 11th, and it goes through everything that he does. And then down here you have all of the jobs that he's done, and you can see for different people, you can't see who they're for. If you were to click on them, you might see what he did. So flyer design for a yoga studio, and they did a fixed price of $15. So you can kind of go through and find something that is similar to what you're looking for and kind of look at the price, or you can go to his profile up here. It's saying $5.56 an hour. Now that isn't necessarily what they're going to charge. Sometimes that's a lot higher than what they're willing to work for. So if you posted a job kind of in the lower range and their profile has something higher, then you can kind of work that stuff out later. Because one of these is 3 hours at $6.67 an hour, and so that's higher than what's on his profile. So down here is portfolio. You can see all the work. So he does really good work, and all of his he gets 5 stars, 5 stars. So he gets a good rating. He was just and he might have been really busy at the time that I was working with him too, and that might have been why he was slower, and I wasn't giving him enough hours to kind of keep going. So that's that. That is, there are hundreds of thousands, probably millions of profiles on here of different things. So yeah, that was 211,000 people under graphic design. The other cool thing about this is, which is really important, actually this, in his profile he has his Skype. That's something that most people you'll use. So Skype is what, I have Skype on my phone, and I deal with my outsourcers completely through Skype. So it's just like texting them. And so getting their Skype, that's how you kind of interview them. I never do the voice, like the face-to-face video. It's all text through Skype, talking to them and then asking what kind of work they have, and they send you stuff, and that's how you kind of do the interview process, just through Skype, and you kind of get a feel for them, and then what you usually do is you give them a test project. So if it's something big like a research project. So what I was talking about earlier with the dog research, I checked in just to see how he's doing, but normally you can say, hey, do this for 2 to 4 hours, and then send me what you have, and then we'll see if it's good, and then you can continue from there. So here's a great part: manage my team. And then I'm going to go to, same guy here, I'm going to go to him. And this is awesome. So there's a view work diary. So he hasn't worked for me for like 4 months or something. So I'm just going to click on here, and there's no activity because I have to find when he worked last. So if he was working right now, it would show up right there. So November 11th he worked. So he was working from 11 until like 12. And it takes a screenshot of their computer. It's random, so anywhere from, you can see there's this one was 5 minutes, the next one was 14, so it's completely random, so they don't know when it's taking a screenshot of their computer, so you can actually follow what they're doing. And so this was when he was doing a book cover for me, so I could see what he was doing, and I actually saw an image he was using and was like, oh, can you actually do it a little bit different this way? So I could just send him a message on Skype. You can also send a message through Odesk, but Skype just tends to be a little bit quicker. So yeah, that's so cool. But at the beginning, you have to monitor just so that you're not wasting money, wasting their time on stuff. And so you can just kind of watch them and make sure they're doing work. I think that's pretty well everything that I have to show you about this. It's actually, I'm just going to go to recruit, back to the beginning. Actually, how about I close this out? Is my face back? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
so that is basically finding a VA, finding somebody to do basically anything. I talked about graphic design there, but it's endless what you can do. And I've posted some jobs just for the fun of it, just to see if there's people out there that would know how to do that, and giving samples of like graphic design, but you want it to be cartoony stuff, so that you'll draw a different crowd of people. If you want to find people, my idea and my goal still is to create a book about how different cultures view dogs, just because it fascinates me. And so my plan was to get someone to research this and then gather all this information together, go through it, and kind of take out the stuff I don't like and kind of narrow it down, and then give that all to a ghostwriter and somebody that will write it and put it into a book. And I found somebody that would do all of that. So I had kind of everything in place, but I haven't continued with that. So it's endless what you can do. Any questions?
I just want to add something quickly, Bernie. That was super awesome. And we're just sitting in opposite rooms, so that might seem weird, but I wanted to add to keep your mind open. So like Bernie says, we use these guys for everything, and it doesn't always have to be, for business you're going to do right away. And we've used also another lady to gather email addresses for us. And I know sometimes some of us aren't about sending out huge email blasts to people we don't know, but we were doing this for when we were traveling through the States to our first one. We wanted to do dog training seminars at different pet stores or dog daycares. So this was kind of a different style of that. So we had a lady that gathered like 300 email addresses and sent out emails to them that we would give to her to send, saying, oh, there's these trainers from Canada are coming. Do you have any interest in having them in to do a dog training seminar? And we got some leads from that. So that's something sort of a little bit different than what we focus with EN on, but it was really cool to help that other aspect of our business. So keep an open mind with this sort of stuff. And like we say, we do things for fun too, to find out about stuff around the world and to entertain us. And what Bernie's gotten from this as well is he's now started his own business as the social media guy, and he's now contracting out work to businesses online that are either construction companies or people that have no idea what Facebook and social media is even about, and he's getting logos and graphic designs from these guys, but then he's applying everything that he's learned through the program that we're all involved in, and he's now getting work on the side like that too. So it's really cool to kind of have everything come around from all the angles that he's doing stuff. So it's just been awesome to watch him learn and pull this together and, start making money different ways while we're kind of waiting for the big picture to happen too. So just always keep an open mind like we do. I'm not concerned that you guys don't, but there's so many things out there that they can do, and the more you get used to it, and it's always a little bit of trial and error, but you learn who to trust, and we have some cool relationships, and apparently we have a place to stay in India whenever we want to go. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit too. Is that a lot of what a lot of what we've all been sort of taught, and for those that are beginning out, is you want to focus on those things that you're good at, the things that you do know, and so to be able to outsource things that you're not capable, that might get in the way of you actually doing the work you need to be doing in your business, and how that allows you to free up the time or keep that time that you're good at focused and generating your business in a way that it's helping you. And I like the fact that you have created a second type of source of being able to do that just by going through that. That's awesome.
And you can waste a lot of time with this outsourcing thing, because it almost gets, you can get lazy because you're like, oh well, I could just get someone else to do this, and then you find someone to do it, and it's, I was just listening to the 4 Hour Work Week again today, and I only want to eat bananas, Kimberly. Nice comment. You can't outsource that. But there was something he said that it really stuck with me, and he said, automation to an efficient business will magnify efficiency, but automation to an inefficient business will magnify inefficiency. So if you have something that isn't really working, but you think it's not working because you're not kind of spending enough time with it, and you haven't really made it work, and then you try to get somebody else to do it, it's probably still not going to work. So going back to what Dave Sharp said about doing things yourself and knowing that they work before you start getting other people to do it. But this whole web development, I don't know the first thing about HTML and all of that stuff, and graphic design, I've done a little bit of it, but I decided, well, I found an outsourcer that knows how to do it, and I kind of built a relationship. I actually did a small test website with him, and found just I could work with him, I could communicate with him, and I posted somewhere that I do web development and graphic design, and all of a sudden I had these people coming to me and being like, oh, can you do my website? I'm like, yeah, sure, I can do that, and not really knowing the first thing about it, so that was kind of a little scary. And then I took all that information and gave it to my outsourcer, and he's like, yeah, we can do that. So it's been a huge learning curve, but now it's really cool because I can almost like text him with Skype to ask him questions about things, and so yeah, it's the whole outsourcing world is you start talking to people. It's not new, but to most people it's new. And a lot of people think, well, that's ridiculous. You're getting someone to work for a few dollars an hour on something, and they'll kind of frown upon that. But if all the big companies, everybody's doing outsourcing. You call for your Bell phone bill, and you're not talking to someone down the street. You're talking to someone on the other side of the world, and just kind of big companies use it all the time.
Yeah, I like the how you mentioned too, when you first start out, that you need to test and just give them a small job and something that you can afford, and just find those connections so that because I do think it's important. I've worked in industry where we outsource quite a bit, and it's the con of it is that you are entrusting someone else to do something, and have it be correct in what you want and what your customer is looking for. And so you have to be very careful of who you use. So it is very, very important to test out and not only their quality, but like you said, can you communicate? Available are they? How easy is it to get them? And what's the what's the time ratio for getting returns to your questions, and most importantly, your product, what you're outsourcing. So that's, yeah, a very important test before you trust something major.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something I put in my posts when I post a job. I say this is time sensitive, and I need somebody that's going to be that can get the job done. So then they know that there's some urgency for it. And if they're overloaded with work already, then they're probably not going to apply for the job. So what a lot of these outsourcers do is they will, if they're agencies, then there will always be those people on there. But if they're independent, they will, if they have lots of work, then they do that work. But as they slow down, then they start applying for some of these job posts that are on there. So that's why it's usually better to post a job and see who comes and applies for it, opposed to trying to find someone in their profile because they might be busy.
Hey Bernie, this is Robert here. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing really
Yes.
good. Glad to see you all, you guys. I've been kind of out of the loop and fighting life, but I got a question for you here. When you are when you're learning all these new skill sets, like we all are, I'm helping a lot of real estate agents, and you had said something about you helping construction workers get their Facebook and their social media together, helping them get their logos together. How did you get some of the work that you're picking up now?
I've done a few Facebook ads. So kind of I've been focusing around my area. So geo-targeting kind of my location, but then also in there's Kijiji. It's like Craigslist, whatever. I've put some stuff in there, and it's been surprising how many people have contacted me for work. So that's all I've really been doing so far.
Yeah, no, it's good that I tapped into this because I'm seriously looking at making a massive transition. It's a long story, but the short and skinny of it is that I need to free up a lot more time during the day to do all the cool things I want to do, like post on Facebook, post on all these social media chat areas, and then also to do the Empower business, because when I'm working in an office, I'm in an environment where they're actually cranking down on everything, and it's like you can't even breathe. So I'm looking at a major change here in the next month or so.
That's really cool, and I would suggest just posting a job and seeing what kind of go through Odesk and post something and see what comes up, and you'll actually you'll get excited about it. You'll be like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So I shot a video, and it was just about dog stuff. So nothing to do with whatever, just dog training. It was about getting a second dog and my thoughts about it. And I gave that YouTube video to one of my VAs, and actually she calls herself Cute Princess. And I said, I want you to promote this YouTube video to like dog groups, anything dog related. And I had I don't know how many views, like over 300 views in under a couple of days to it. And
awesome.
So it's you can give them blog posts. If you want your blog post to be syndicated, like wherever, you can say, do you know what? Here's a link. I want you to send this out, and to wherever. You just kind of tell them where to send it. Now there are something to be cautious about is some people will there's all of these softwares. So when you get a lot of junk mail, and we kind of all know about the whole opt-ins and how your email address can be put into lists that you didn't even sign up for. There's software that will scan the internet. It'll go through websites and it'll pull out any email address they see. So that's why a lot of websites will just have a form to fill out. They don't even have their email address, so that these softwares can't pick them up. So there's software out there. If you ask a virtual assistant for email addresses about a certain topic, they can run that through their software, and it will gather all kinds of email addresses, which I think that's what happened with my maybe the dog stuff that we did, which has been great. But then there's also software that will automatically send your link through a software to, I think, Facebook groups and like whatever. And one of my videos that it is stuck at 301 views, and it didn't move from there. And I'm like, what? Like, why is this? And I looked at YouTube, and YouTube said, oh, we're verifying them because sometimes they go through automated systems for views. So we're just verifying that they're actual views. So some people will say, you know what, I'll throw your video out there all over, and we'll see how many views it gets, and they might just kind of run it through a system to get all of those views. But you can often tell if there's comments and stuff like that. I had them send emails. I have a bunch of addresses, and I gave them an email. I said, I want you to send this to all of these people. And what I did is I put one of my email addresses in the middle of it, just so that I knew that they were sending them out and that they were going out and that it was right. So just something that can be done too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is endless what you can do, and I would suggest that reading chapter 8 of 4-Hour Workweek, and he walks through. There's an updated version of it, and I think because some stuff has changed, like he does walk you through pretty well what I did. Just about the 100 hours of work and blah, blah, blah. He walks you through that, too, and I think the updated version, he's changed some things. But
yeah, I have that version, and it's awesome. It's really good. He basically just redid it and took case studies and put those in there. He didn't really change the content of the actual book. He just added case studies to it and does a little more hands-on stuff. It's really awesome.
Does he also have an audiobook of that book as well?
Yeah, that's what I have. But I found it. He talks a lot about like there's lots of links and websites in it that he refers to. So the guy that wrote it will actually go www.blah blah blah / blah blah blah, and it kind of gets annoying after a while. And then today I wanted to reference some of the stuff, and I have the book somewhere. I can't find it, but I think a friend has it. But I had the audiobook, so I'm trying to listen to it, and I'm kind of a visual learner, so it would have been a lot easier if I would have had the book to kind of reference stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Whoa! What's going on, people?
Hey, Katrina, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Okay, I'm gonna mute myself.
Is that your office that you're in, Ekaterina?
No, I had to come to my shop to help out my mom and my sister with some administration, and me and Gina just finished doing a hangout, so I decided I'm just gonna stay here, finish with you guys, and then go home.
I feel like it always looks like a hospital. I always think you're sitting in a hospital. That's all.
That's what Gina said too. She's like, "Are you in the hospital?" I'm like, "No."
Well, awesome. I'm glad you jumped on. We were just kind of finishing up. We like to keep these to an hour, and so I just want to go through real quick those that are on here if they have any last questions for Bernie before we kind of finish up here.
Okay. Okay, I'll have to listen to the replay because we just finished the hangout, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else on that has any questions for Bernie or?
No, I'm cool.
It was incredible. I took pages. Oh, pages of notes, so thank you so much.
Perfect.
Will you be posting up the PowerPoint presentation in our team files, or would you be willing to do that?
Yes, I can do that. Yeah,
Okay.
there's not much information there, but yeah, I can do that.
That would be awesome.
Thank
Cool.
you.
I will do that. So just a quick recap. With outsourcing, I use odesk.com. Go on there. It's a free profile to set up, and then just walk through the steps. And you can't do anything wrong. You just go through. People will apply, and then interview them, and just use your judgment. Don't try to get attached to the people because you'll start interviewing them through Skype, and you'll be like, oh, they seem like a really nice person, but I don't think they have what I want, and then all of a sudden you're like, now I gotta not hire them, but it'll be much harder to fire them once you've hired them. But so just be really picky and very detailed with your work is I can't stress enough.
Awesome, thanks, Bernie. So we're going to end on that note, and once again, before we quit this session, I just wanted to remind those of you who have not gotten your tickets to the New Orleans event for the All-In House to remember to log in and get those. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, get together with the person that invited you to this hangout, and they'll explain what the events are and why you should attend. So thanks again for Bernie for teaching, and Ekaterina for joining us, and Jeremy's on here as well, Kimberly and Scott Vento, Robert Montana, and Tiffany Type 1 Jedi. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you at the next hangout.
Yeah.
Bye.